And now, from Pensacola, Florida, it's Within Reason with Bob Kerrigan and Bill Rankin.
Well, good evening and welcome to Within Reason. Mr. Rankin is in rare form. You may introduce yourself briefly. This is Bill Rankin. And
see, here's a liberal in charge.
Yeah.
I'm Bill Rankin, and it's just exciting to have our politicians provide us with so much wonderful material.
There's a lot of good material.
It's good.
I'm pleased to say that I get a lot of the Republican literature. Okay?
Why do you think that is?
Because they want my review of it. And they want my comment.
Oh, yeah,
and on
good.
the air. And
have you ever gotten these things and they say, this is the national poll, and they all do the same thing. Republican Party, the Democratic Party, the Libertarians don't do that.
Yeah.
And they say, we're dying to have your opinion. This is a registered document. Meaning,
yes.
Oh my God.
I know, it's registered.
Registered.
Yeah,
what if I don't send it back in?
Yeah, has to be.
And then all the questions are ridiculous, you know.
Well,
do you support the Republicans' plan to kill Medicare and give the rich more money? Or do you support the trend toward communism in the Obama administration? Well, no, I don't. We need your opinion on these issues. And then the last question, how much money is you?
Well, before we get to
what I used to do, I'd fill them all out because they had business reply. They paid the postage.
Yeah.
And I'd honestly fill them out with my opinions and send them.
And no one cared.
Oh, of course.
And no one read it.
They don't tabulate it. Is any cash in it? No, throw it away.
No,
it's what the televangelists do. It's very efficient.
That's right.
No cash, out.
One time, years and years.
Oh, the prayer request. Oh, Mama has a hernia. No, no cash. Out you go.
One time years ago, many years ago, I had the occasion to be representing somebody in the George Wallace family. Okay? So I was in Alabama. This is when he was running for president. And they took me into the cash room and showed me where the cash came in.
Wow.
I have branded in my brain huge trays of cash and unopened envelopes. And in those days, people sent the cash.
Yeah.
I mean, just huge trays, stacked up trays of money coming into George Wallace. I'll never forget that.
Wow.
Yeah, but now we just have Citizens United, and they just write a check for about $5 billion or whatever they're going to write and buy the elections.
Yeah. So
that's our system.
So you think, yeah.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Political speech is great unless it comes from people you don't like. Is that kind of where we are?
No, that's not where we are. Not where we are. But before you get launched today, I'm very interested in your opinion about several things.
Oh, I'll bet you are. This is like the Republican poll, probably.
Yeah, well, no.
Just kind of a...
No, but I should start by saying I was at this private function, nice people, business people, and others, and professional people. And so this friend came up.
Like the 1% club that you're in?
No. I don't belong to any impressive clubs. So I'm surprised I got invited to this. But anyway, so we're there, and this woman comes up that I know very well, and I consider to be a friend of long standing. And she said to me, I wanted you to know how much I enjoy watching you and Bill on TV. And I said, well, appreciate that, certainly, very much. And I said, you certainly share that view shared by many people. Yeah. And I was sort of going along with the whole thing. And then she said something that was a little alarming to me. Yes, she did. Without missing a beat from saying how much she enjoyed watching us on TV, she said, Bill is so right. What is that?
Who knows?
That was inappropriate, though. I mean, it would have been better to say, you both have interesting views about that.
Yeah, that would have been a more politic way
much
to say.
Much more polished thing to say.
Who cares? I mean, I've had a lot of people say to me, which one are you?
Yeah, well, I always tell them
I'm McLeod.
when they say, yeah, that's right. We tell them we're one of the other partners. Now, I've gotten a lot of mail this week.
And I've heard this too.
Yeah.
I say, you're just a great straight man for Kerrigan. I honestly have heard it from a guy we both know who's
and I'm the straight man. I'm the one that has to take the Nancy Pelosi position and try to argue.
You don't have to take that.
Well, I don't, but you make me take it, or you just run over everybody.
Before we go any further, I'm going to forget this if I don't say it. I was watching the MSNBC, and they had Sandy Weil on. He used to be the head of Citicorp, and he said some good things.
Yeah,
that I like.
he said some very interesting
things. He said something great. He said 99% of the 1% used to be in the 99%. And I think that's true. I mean, if you track a lot of these people, they...
Say that again. I lost the math.
99% of the 1% used to be in the 99%. And think about it.
No, I think that's complete BS from top to bottom. That's completely fallacious.
I think a lot
they
of
were born on third base and thought they hit a triple. Most of them did. Look at Romney.
You.
Oh, well, I'm just a really sharp guy, so I'll go form some capital.
Yeah,
I'll talk to some people.
Look at Obama.
Yeah, but I'm just saying. I mean, why do we have to go to Obama? We're talking about Romney. We'll get to Obama in a minute. Okay.
There are, and maybe he's off on the numbers. Look around us. You know, a lot of the people we know who are successful and wealthy, their families weren't anything much by socioeconomic. Maybe they were great families and they instilled good values. They didn't have lots of dough or influence.
That's not what you said, though. What you said was 99%.
I said what? That's what he said.
Of the 1%.
Of the 1%.
That's ridiculous.
Well,
okay.
that may be...
50% of the 1% were born on third base, thought they hit a triple. At least 50%. At least half. Look at the people that we know really, really well through the years. At least half came from money, serious money, okay? I mean, passed down generation. So? Yeah, generation after generation.
I mean, I'm just thinking of the people I know who have been big successes, and I don't believe that.
Well, I think there are many people who have been...
You are an example of it. You've been very successful. You got your name on stuff, and you started foundations.
Well, you're
you
successful.
Get your name in the paper.
Yeah, I mean,
and your family was distinctly middle class. I mean, they weren't...
Let's not denigrate...
No, I don't denigrate that at all. My family was striving to get to the middle class. It's the truth.
Well, the truth is,
they were down in Hoboken working, and nobody graduated from high school.
No, we came from blue-collar families.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. But I think it's not 99% of the 1%. That was my only point.
It's a nice sentiment.
All right, let me ask you...
Can't be proven or disproven, actually.
Did I see you in the Chick-fil-A line? Did I see you?
The only reason you didn't see me in the Chick-fil-A line was I didn't think of it. Let's talk about Chick-fil-A. And if you don't know...
But which line were you going to be in, the kissing line or the other line?
I was going to be in the chicken line.
Well, I mean, you could go... You didn't have to be a kisser to be in a kiss line. You could be there to support the kissers. I mean, that would be... Hey,
I wouldn't care about
Not that there's anything wrong with that. Okay?
I support their right to do whatever they want.
Exactly.
As long as they're behaving peaceably, go ahead and kiss each other. I don't have to watch it.
So what's your take on the Chick-fil-A?
Here's my take on the whole thing. What's the guy's name? He is the CEO of Chick-fil-A. It's a family company.
Cathy, isn't his last name?
Dan Cathy is his name.
Yeah.
Good.
Okay.
And he came out and said stuff that's really, really kind of harsh and offensive to a lot of homosexual people. He said, God has ordained it, that marriage is a man and woman. God's going to punish us if we allow homosexual marriage, which is a pretty harsh position to take. But an absolutely legitimate position in terms of his right to say it. Now, lots of people said, well, if he's going to be like that, I'm not going to eat a Chick-fil-A. Okay? That's a risk he runs.
It's okay, too.
That's fine.
Yeah.
You can eat a Chick-fil-A, not eat a Chick-fil-A for any reason you choose. Mike Huckabee said, well, we're going to eat a Chick-fil-A because of that. Okay. If that's why you want to eat a Chick-fil-A, go ahead. You're going to get fat. Mike Huckabee was fat. Yeah. But here's the thing that is just so revealing to me. Some of our liberal... This would be the mayor of Boston, the mayor of Chicago, and of course all the wackos out in San Francisco said, he's not going to open any Chick-fil-A's out here where we're tolerant. Wait a minute, no, not that. We just can't do it because here's an interesting thing. Somebody said, you're denying people their civil rights. What are you talking about? Yeah. Never been defined as a civil right, and how is he denying it? He's expressing an opinion. That's it. Now, getting all worked up is fine. That's the American tradition. Have kiss lines dressed up as chickens, eat a lot of chicken if you want, whatever you want. But our public officials, who ought to know a little bit about the First Amendment, and they all happen to be liberals, who are so tolerant, so diverse,
Can we back up?
so
for this?
open,
Can we just
that
back
they're going to forbid him from coming into
Can we
town.
back up for a second? You laid off this absurd position on the liberals. I understand it.
Yeah. Well, they happen to be liberals.
Even though
Rahm Emanuel,
well, that's I'm just like
Obama's former chief of staff, not exactly a right-winger.
But no, but we can say just because the 2 or 3 people you mentioned are a little wacky on the left doesn't mean it's a liberal position. That's my point. Is okay. It means that
A position taken by liberals.
Well, yes, but they're positions taken by
Oh,
the
I see.
Tea Party
It's not-
people that are insane.
Oh,
okay,
well, that's right.
So I'm just saying you can't. You're kind of like Rush Limbaugh. You blast the whole
okay.
group of us.
It isn't
okay?
the liberal
I don't agree
position.
with that. Okay,
They're spokesmen for the, and now maybe there are
They're
some
not-
liberals with some sense who don't agree with
They're
that.
not spokesmen for the liberal group.
You don't think so?
No, I don't
They're
think
trying
so.
to be.
And now, don't they already have Chick-fil-A's in
Isn't
those
it-
places anyway? That are already
That's
there?
what yeah, well, I think they were suggesting you're going to have a hard time opening anymore.
And how
because
could you deny somebody the right to open a restaurant if they
Well,
need
they
to?
can't. The mayor of Boston had to back off. Somebody finally talked some sense into it.
Well, don't you think a lot of that is just pandering to the special groups that are interested in that position
Probably.
and they clap and applaud and stuff? Let me just
Public officials shouldn't threaten people with stupid stuff. It's the public officials now. Mike Huckabee or preachers or gay rights activists, say what you want. We're all going to go in there and kiss the chicken. Great, go ahead. Who cares?
Well, what was it? I think it was pretty masterful, if I could say this from observation that may be slightly manipulative by the Chick-fil-A people. They got this burst of sales, right? Because of ostensibly this retaliation against their president. But then they got a burst of sales from the homosexuals who all came out too.
Are they going to buy chicken or just go in there and kiss each other?
I think they were buying chicken. I don't know.
That's great.
Did you go up there at any time?
No, I didn't.
There was somebody that looked just like you.
I really thought about it.
Up
I
there.
really thought it. You think so?
Yeah.
I want to see
there
the
was
photo.
a tall guy
I'm not speaking.
who kept looking the other way when
I
the
actually
cameras.
thought about it this weekend.
Did
I
you?
thought
Yeah.
just to support. I do not support the position that God's going to punish the world if you let homosexuals get married. That's a ridiculous position. But I would like to support his right to say that.
Do you want to talk about the tree that fell down on Barcia and 12th Avenue?
Why not? Barcia and 12th Avenue, if you're going to watch, we want you to watch the whole show, by the way, and all of them, because we don't want to repeat these things. But Bob got really mad because he has to go up 12th Avenue. And at Barcia and 12th, and Diane Mack kind of fessed up to this. Some people were complaining that they had to wait too long at the stop sign. So they put a 4-way stop up there. And it wasted all kinds of gas, and
yeah, they had the
90%
stop signs on Barcia,
right? Because that was the
right, and you have 12,000 cars going north and 200 going across Barcia, and these people around there, they didn't like to have to wait, so they talked.
Now we all have to stop.
Yeah, and the way they justified it, and we covered this before, but the way they justified it was, the police department, you had to have like 4 or 5 wrecks to justify a stop sign, which is kind of funny, really,
that
as part of the criteria.
Funny.
But anyway, if you have that criteria, then some people say, well, okay, that's enough. So what they did was this. When a police officer would investigate an accident, they would put Barcia and 12th to locate it proximally to the accident site, but had nothing to do with Barcia and 12th. So they used those
If you ran into a tree down the road, you'd say, well, it's 400 yards from Barcia and 12th.
Exactly, it was a landmark point.
That's great.
So I pulled all of the reports because I wanted this.
You really are into this issue.
I wasn't. So I pulled all the reports.
Barcia and 12th 4-way stop.
I pulled all these reports because I don't like stopping there. I have to stop there all the time. And I have 12,000 cars stopping. We're burning all this extra fuel. We're destroying the environment, all because these 4 people on that corner want to have the traffic come. So I reported it to Diane Mack, thinking, very naively, very stupidly, she'd just really get into it and really do something about it. And then within about 3 weeks, they had 3 Diane Mack signs on the corners. So I didn't get a whole lot of response.
I asked Diane Mack, and she said, well, it's for traffic calming.
Calming, yes. Calming. I wasn't calm, and I'm not calm.
I'm waiting there for nothing in the intersections. That doesn't make you calm.
So do you want to ask me what happened because of that conduct by people that was objectionable, that caused us all to happen? What happened
because of that conduct by people, which was objectionable, which caused us all to stop?
God hit lightning that hit a tree that blocked the whole frigging intersection. That was my position on that.
That's
okay,
it.
and that was that is what happened.
It's certainly no crazier than stuff appears in the News Journal regularly. Remember after Hurricane Katrina? And it wasn't just in the News Journal. Some of the national quacks were doing it. Hurricane Katrina, which caused a big flood in New Orleans, was God's punishment for homosexuality.
Right.
It should be really unfair of God, because there are a lot of heterosexuals in New Orleans who got flooded out too.
I think so too, but that's where
Because they allowed it.
That's where Barbara Bush said that these poor people in the Superdome were really actually better off now. Yes, that's what she said. When she had her bouffant hairdo and while she was smoking a cigar on the side, she came into the Superdome and said these poor people were better off. Okay, that's your girl.
I've got a client who I talked to recently who unfortunately lost a loved one over here, and she's from New Orleans. And she told us what it was like, and she had a whole bunch of kids with her, and it was really scary and dreadful and awful.
Oh, I can't imagine. When the
now this was, so she went through this, and then shortly after that, her daughter got killed.
Well, what do you think that the wackos are going to say when there is a earthquake in San Francisco?
Oh, proof positive.
Proof positive.
I thought it was going to be Wednesday, but it came to,
It's going to come.
That's
and then
it.
they'll all say they predicted it.
Yeah,
hey,
of course
listen,
they did.
I've gotten this brochure from Connie Mack, yeah. He would be really an outstanding candidate if he didn't engage in road rage, have his property repossessed, get in foreclosures, gets in drunken brawls, gets arrested, and a few other things.
You left out his main qualification.
Which is
what?
If
he gets in the Senate instead of Nelson, there'll be less chance of Obama ruining the country should the country make the mistake of re-electing Obama. That's what I like about Connie Mack. He'll vote against Obama. Just a way. I don't care.
Which one of these Republicans are you supporting, by the way?
Connie Mack.
You got to be kidding.
For the sole reason.
Are you kidding?
I already voted.
But you're this
for the sole reason that he has a better chance of beating Nelson.
Are you serious about that?
We cannot have a majority in the Senate of Democrats. It's bad.
Listen,
they'll stop Obama.
If you have all Republicans in the House and the Senate, we'll have 6 years like we had with George W. Bush. It'll be a disaster. He spent money like a drunken sailor. And they're going to do it. And they're going to do it.
Maybe that gridlock is the absolute best thing that could happen to this country.
How could anybody vote for this clown, Connie Mack? However you
don't think much of your fellow Floridians because he's ahead in the polls.
I don't think much of our fellow Floridians. But listen, it wouldn't bother me if he didn't get, when he gets drunk, if he wouldn't get in so many fights. I think that's the thing.
You know, the last fight was years ago. When's the last documented fight where he got arrested? That was years ago.
Where he got arrested?
Yeah.
Good point. That's a lawyer's point.
Well, you could say we're fighting now. You know?
Yeah, you could.
That would disqualify me from the Senate. Other things.
Where he got arrested. So if you want this envelope to send Connie Mack some money, if you're...
I voted for him. I think that's enough.
That's about all you're going to do for that. Yeah. Okay, now, what else do we have here? Do you want to talk about the local campaign? Let's not
we
go
talk about local races.
Let's go to the local races in the second segment of it after our break coming up in about 3 minutes.
Okay. Whatever you say.
All right. So this is my latest. Yeah, 3 minutes to go. This is my latest Romney packet. For those of you, Mr. Rankin, he doesn't get all the good Romney mail.
I don't know why. I gave him money.
Yeah. Well, I got pulled, so I get the Romney mail.
Didn't give him much money.
Here's a letter from Mitt, who says, "Dear Floridians, I'm not revealing my tax returns. I do not care that this is a critical aspect that the voters want to know about."
That's what he said?
Yeah. First paragraph.
I don't care. I don't care what's in his
I just made that up.
It's, you know, the voters are dying to know what's in your tax returns. That's kind of a prurient interest, isn't it? Yeah. I want to know.
No, it's not prurient. Listen, they want to know.
The thing I don't like about Romney, he wants to shovel extra money toward the military, and that's one of the things that's ruining us.
Gosh.
We cannot afford it, Mitt. Since I'm your buddy,
I believe in him
by my first name, by the way. He does.
It's mine is Dear Mr. Kerrigan. All right. I am running for president of the United States. Now that's really, for your average Republican voter, this is something they need to be told because they're not real clear about who's actually running. Some of them still think it's Mike Huckabee.
He's not the nominee yet.
Yeah, not the nominee. I believe in America. Does that make you feel better when you read that from a politician? Because a lot of politicians would say, I don't believe in America.
Right. That's very common.
And I believe America deserves better than the failed policies of Barack Obama.
Well, that's easy to agree with. I agree with that.
Please help me.
I believe in America. What does that mean?
I don't know exactly.
Believe that it exists?
I don't know what it means.
There's evidence that it exists.
I believe that, well, is it exciting about the rover on Mars?
Yes, that is pretty cool.
Thrilling.
It's one of those things.
To the great American ingenuity and talent.
Yes,
It's fabulous, you know.
And you're going to point out it's a government program, which it is, but it's a wonderful thing.
These government programs spin out a lot of really good things in the private sector
they
too.
Do.
You know, so it's
given passing out money to your cronies have already demonstrated failure. I'm not just talking about Solyndra.
No,
that's a bad idea.
That's a bad idea.
That's
we both
your
agree with that. Okay, he wanted to help me restore the promise of America. I'm really not sure what that means. What the promise of America is. The promise of America is low tax rates for wealthy people. That's the promise of America, right?
By historical standards, the wealthy pay a bigger percentage of the taxes than in the days when we had really high marginal tax rates.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, you can always find something. Where do you get this information from?
From you. You told me that if you add up all the taxes, about half of your income goes to various governments.
Well, that's true.
You were telling the truth, weren't you?
I was telling the truth. We got to take a break. We have to reorganize. This has gotten completely out of control. We'll be back after this short message. Stay with us.